Are there any spies in the audience today? Okay, just a few not very good ones. Which is good. Because what I'm about to tell you technically constitutes an act of treason. But the state secrets I'm about to divulge are about 150 years old, so probably out of the woods. About 13 months ago, I came into some documents, some letters between these two guys. On your left is Lord Lyons. He was the British ambassador to Washington, D.C. On your right is Robert Bunch, who was another British diplomat in South Carolina. And when I say diplomat, I mean he's somebody who would not raise his hand. Good, about 2/3 of you are with me. That's better than I expected. So they're sending encrypted letters back and forth. Now, normal people, when they see an encrypted message, react pretty much like James Grime did, which is say, "Bleh, it could be anything." But this one's really got its hooked into me, mainly because of the dateline. Okay, a few reactions. So if you're not an American historian, 1861, April, the first shots of the American Civil War were fired in Charleston Harbor at Fort Sumter. Robert Bunch is right in the middle of the kicking off of the American Civil War, and he's writing stuff in code to his boss. Now, he's also a representative of the British government, so he's up to no good. Seriously, Britain never do the right thing. And so Bunch he's running spies out of Charleston on mail ships to break the blockade. He's trying to set up covert meetings with Jefferson Davis. He's doing all sorts of cloak and dagger stuff. So I want to know what he's saying to his boss about all this. So there's a corollary to Shannon's law, which it's got to be something. These are 19th century amateurs doing cryptography. It's unlikely to be a very, very big code, a very difficult code. And we've got 21st century computers, so we should be able to crack this thing, in principle. First thought, maybe it's a Playfair cipher. And there's all sorts of evidence for this in the text. It passes all of the tests that you need for a Playfair cipher. And there's some circumstantial evidence as well. This is a really new cipher at the time. It's about 7 years old. It's really hard to crack at the time, and it's simple enough for two amateurs to be able to agree on a key and go back and forth. It's a pretty good candidate. Trouble is, it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work, if you look at the blocks of 4 letters, you look at the first halves of those blocks and the second half separately, the frequency counts are all off. It's not the same thing in both halves. So maybe it's 2 grids. That's even harder to crack. It's a bit harder to encipher as well. It's not that either. If you look at each column separately, again, the statistics are off. Another candidate cipher is the Vigenère cipher. If you've not come across this one, you take several Caesar shift ciphers and kind of rotate through them according to a keyword. And there's a method of determining how big the key might be by shifting the cipher past itself to see how often you get a coincidence of letters. It's not that either. But the test shows that it's a periodic cipher. We have a period of 4. But it's not a Caesar cipher because the frequencies are all off. Then we don't get a nice pattern anywhere in this thing that we can pull out Caesar ciphers from. We think it's a mixed cipher version of the Vigenère cipher. We've not cracked it, but we've got some clues, which I'm not going to tell you about. But if you would like to help me try to crack this, I would love to have your help. The best way to reach me is on Twitter. I'm Ice Cold Beveridge. Thank you for your attention.